Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. For those that don't know, there was the shooting in D.C. where it involved a couple National Guard members. So those guardsmen were critically injured. There's now a suspect who has been identified, and there's a bunch of different headlines out there. And I guess a couple different things. One, I wasn't sure if this was, I don't know. Appropriate's the wrong word, but if this is something that I should do here, and because it's the National Guard, of course, I feel as though I should. So I'm curious, and I'm going to look here and see if there's any sort of, donation website, what's going on. I mean, all this stuff is very new and very horrendous for not just the members, but their families, their loved ones, and my heart and condolences go out to them. A very, very sad situation when you can be on your own soil and just, guess what? We need you guys to go here for this amount of time. Oh, okay, cool. I guess that's what we'll do. And you go, and then that happens. And here we are on Thanksgiving. And so I just can't help but think about them and their family members and everything that they're going through. So I wanted to read a little bit here. I'm just going to run through a couple headlines, and we'll actually read some stuff for those that aren't fully aware. So these are headlines. Afghan national identified as suspect in National Guard shooting in D.C. Here's what we know. What we know about the National Guard shooting, updates, Guard members in critical condition. Who is the D.C. National Guardsman shooting suspect? What to know, and that's what I'm going to read here in a second. A couple more shooting of 2 National Guard members in D.C. And let's just jump into it here. All right, so this just came out a few hours ago, and sharing it with you today. So I can't even say the name. I'll try to butcher it. Of this suspect who's, just garbage. So, who is the DC National Guardsman shooting suspect? What to know about Afghan national Rahmanullah Lakanawal? I don't know. It's talking with marbles in my mouth. All right. A 29-year-old Afghan national has been identified as the gunman accused of shooting 2 National Guard members just blocks from the White House on the day before Thanksgiving. Law enforcement sources told Fox News Digital. Lakanawal was taken into custody Wednesday, while authorities said both Guard members were in critical condition. Officials, it sucks no matter when it is. It just sucks even more when it's around any sort of big holiday, because now that holiday is going to be a consistent reminder of this tragedy. Whether, and I pray they make it through, they're in critical condition, but this will live on forever for them and their loved ones. More details about the suspect have slowly come to light in the hours after the shooting. Pathway to U.S. So the suspect entered the U.S. legally in 2021 under humanitarian parole as part of the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome, allowing the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan and the Taliban takeover of the country. The operation aimed to support and resettle vulnerable Afghans, including those that had helped U.S. troops in the past. Okay, so there's a distinction between the two, right? So vulnerable Afghans and those who helped U.S. troops, right? I think we can all agree those that helped U.S. troops, that should absolutely happen. Now, the problem comes when we talk about vulnerable Afghans, because your enemy is going to Trojan horse in. It's the nature of the beast. I'm sorry. We can pretend all day long that you can create 2 different lines and say enemy, ally, go ahead and get in the right line so we can figure you out. And come on, it's ludicrous to think that nobody's going to try to sneak in. and cause damage. All right. So all that to say is that proper protocols absolutely must be in place heavily for anything like that. The suspect reportedly had his asylum application approved during the Trump administration. And again, regardless of what administration, these types of things need to be very, very focused. Intelligence sources told Fox News Digital that the suspect had a prior relationship with various entities in the U.S. government, including the CIA, due to his work as a member of the partner force in Kandahar. In the wake of these disastrous Biden withdrawal, or the disastrous Biden withdrawal from Afghanistan, which we all know was very heavily criticized, the Biden administration justified bringing the alleged shooter to the United States in September 2021 due to his prior work with the U.S. government, including the CIA. And again, I'm going to say, look, you got to be stringent actually either way, right? Because your enemy, keep your enemies close, right? Is the thing, right? Keep your friends close, your enemies closer, or whatever it is. So the idea would be, what better way to get into a government than to be a friend? All right. So as a member of the partner force, all right. So moving on. The suspect had been living in Washington State. Two law enforcement officials and a person familiar with the matter told the Associated Press. His former landlord, Christina Windman, told the outlet that the suspect arrived in Bellingham, Washington about 4 years ago, and his wife and 5 children. How he traveled the roughly 2,500 miles to Washington, D.C. ahead of Wednesday's shooting remains unclear. Whoa. So Washington State to Washington, D.C. How the shooting unfolded, Jeffrey Carroll, an executive assistant D.C. police chief, said investigators reviewed video that shows the attacker came around the corner and immediately started firing at the guardsmen. Other guardsmen ran over and tackled the shooter, and he was taken into custody. Investigators believe he was the only gunman. Now, my question, and I'm just curious, and I don't know, and it's been a while. So I was first in the Marine Corps, then I was in the Army National Guard. I did the Army National Guard for 6 years. And oftentimes, depending on the sort of situation you're dealing with, you might be called to active duty orders, right? The state level, whatever, maybe a flood or a fire or COVID relief stuff, whatever the situation. And so there you are, Humvees and uniforms and your stuff, but no rounds, no weapon. I mean, you have your weapon, right? Maybe, but you don't have any rounds for them. So I would assume, and I'm just hoping here, that calling the National Guard to secure whatever you're securing in D.C. because of whatever potential threat, I would hope that they all were fully armed. I mean, obviously, two got shot and critically injured. That's horrific. But it doesn't sound like any other shots were fired. So I don't know if they had the capability and they just restrained themselves and tackled the person, got him into custody, or if they had, did they not refrain from doing that and they just had no rounds to shoot. I'm just curious. So if anybody does know that, I'd love to see that in the comments. So moving on. So Carol said it remains unclear whether the guardsman or a responding officer shot the suspect. Okay, so still we don't know. He said no motive has been established. The alleged gunman was severely wounded before being taken into custody. President Donald Trump posted to his Truth Social account Wednesday afternoon. So again, we don't know who shot the suspect. So apparently the suspect was shot. So that's good. I'm reading this first time because it doesn't matter how many times I read something. I'm still going to fumble through it and I'm still not going to be able to say half the words. Trump later said This heinous assault was an act of evil and an act of hatred and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. D.C. Mayor Bowser called the attack a targeted shooting. Now, targeting those specific guardsmen, I don't know. Targeting military personnel, probably. All right. Officials did not immediately provide updates on the extent of the injuries of the guardsman or the suspect. That concludes it. I just want to bring people up to date with this. Again, I'm going to look for any sort of, I don't know if there's a donation thing for the guardsmen or not, or any asks from the family or loved ones. But I'll search around, and if I find something, I will put that in the description. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. Have a great Thanksgiving to everybody out there, even with a horrendous attack on our brothers out there. All right, so with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.